All right, so let's try the boss of the sock, and we're up to the second bit of boss of the sock here. So that is here. Let me just, yeah, we've only done one so far, so we're in the second bit here. All right, so to do this, we are going to need some information that we found last time, and I think I saved it down here. Things like the IP address of the server and so on. Yep, there we are. There's the web server and the attacker's IP address. We're going to need that. We found last time. And it's fast enough to find it, so I think I'll just find it again. So if I go to Data Summary and Source Types, all right, and I get HTTP events. All right. And then I want to get, all of them will do. I'm just thinking of the, oh, I want to put in I'm really not Batman. That was it. .com. That will be the ones coming to this server. All right. And if I search for all of those, then I should find the events from the vulnerability scanner easily. All right. Those are things coming to it. And so here I'm seeing a select from select. That's a SQL injection attempt. And if I go down to the next one, I think I'll see the banner. There we are. This is the one coming from the Atronetics vulnerability scanner. So this is an attack. So now I know the source IP is the attacker's IP, that number starting with 40, and the destination IP is the web server IP, which starts at 192. So that's how I get this basic information to get us started, the web server IP and the attacker IP. Now, after you have that, then we can go down here. So we found the staging server domain name. Up here, we also found the domain name by looking at the 9 events that went backwards. And let me just do that again. It's easier to demonstrate it than to worry about it. So now I've got HTTP events here. And if I go to client IP here, there, and click on one of these values, it'll give me traffic coming from that IP. And if I want to find web requests coming from the web server, I put the web server's IP in there. There we go. And I get rid of this domain name. So I'll get traffic going to any domain from the web server's IP. And that should give me the suspicious 8 or 9 events that went backwards. All right, there's the 9 events to go backwards, and here's a binary download. And in here, I will find the domain name that was used to host this malware that the attacker is downloading. There it is. There's the get poison ivy is coming for you, batman.jpg, and here's the site, prankglassine.jumpingcrab1337. Is it? Yeah, it's up there. All right, good. So that's the domain name. Let me put that here in my useful information. Oh, it's down there, right there, Glassine Blackett. All right, and by the way, also its IP address is in there. You see here, this one, it would be the destination IP of this one. And there, 232263. That's IP address. All right. So now we want to find the staging server behind that server's IP address. Well, I just did that. You can see it. Yeah, that's the 23 number. And now we can find other domains on the staging server. If you have a server that's used to host malware, it is frequently used over and over by the criminals for a series of attacks. So if you just go to Google and you search for an IP address, you'll find information about that IP address. And if it's a known malicious IP address, there are a bunch of people that aggregate this data, like Alien Vault does, VirusTotal does, threat miner. There are various people that just archive this information. And the first one is good here. So Alien Vault will tell you what previous activity has gone on at that IP address. And so they show you this was Wayne Corp Inc., and it was an Amazon created server. And here's one in poisonivy.com in leet speak with numbers instead of letters. And so this is one of the malicious previous domains that pointed to that server, a previous attack campaign by the same attackers in general. And that's what they're looking for here. All right, and the next one is a lot of good fun. If you want, this is where you get to see the brute force attack. See what we saw now, and this is very common. We got an attack in the middle. The first thing they noticed was that they defaced the web server by putting an image on it. That's typically what happens. When you do that, you're going to get caught. But that is not the first thing the attackers did. That was deep into their campaign. So when you find that, you now have to go back and look at the things that happened before that. Now, in this case, the attackers gained the ability to execute code on the web server. So how did they do that? There could be a variety of ways, but in this case, they did it the most common way. They managed to brute force the password for the administration panel, and then they were able to upload a file, like a PHP file, and execute it. So they tried a bunch of passwords until they got in. This, by the way, is exactly what happened to Microsoft and came out this week. So we're going to find the HTTP events using post and exclude the vulnerability scanner. So if I go up here, I want HTTP events, all right. And for the moment, I'm going to turn on sampling to make it faster. So here's some HTTP events, and you'll find the HTTP method here, which is the request you're making of the server. And there it is. And so there's post, get, and options. And typically, a login is a post. That's normally what you use. You could, in principle, log in with a get, but it's a bad practice. The general practice is login would have a post because it's got username and password in it. So here's the post events. Now I want to remove the vulnerability scanner, so I put in not Acunetics. So it just won't allow that word anywhere in the line. And so I've only got 4 of them, but that's because I'm sampling. So if I turn off the sampling, there are about 441 of these. So these events are all the attempted logins and other things that happen to use a post method. So if I look through them, if I go down here, I will find there is a field called form data that is very interesting. HTTP user agent, I'm having trouble finding it though. Maybe I have to go to some later events. Let's try another page. Yeah, form data, there you are. Form data, username is administrator, task equal login, and over here password is porno or something. So this is what a login looks like when this form data field is there. So it makes sense to just get a table of them, pipe table of time and form data. I don't want anything else but that. And now, some of them did not have the form data at all. And now here they have the form data. Now here's one that's got some stuff here, but there's no username or password. So this was a request that used post, but it wasn't a login. So I have some extra things here that are not part of the attack. But if I go down, I'll start finding the attack. And here they are. Username is admin, always admin, and a whole bunch of passwords tried here. Rock, cool, Sammy, and so on. This is the brute force attack. So I want these events. And so I can see various ways to identify them and separate them from the chaff. One obvious thing is just this username equals admin. That's in all of them. So I can highlight that. If I could be able to do it with the mouse if I'm careful enough. Username equals admin. Okay. And now I'll just copy it and require that in the results. I think I can just put it here in quotes. All right. And now I had 441 events, but now I have 413 events. And it has username as admin, and here's password, and there they are. All right, so I can see the time here. Now, it should put the most recent thing on top, but you notice it's not very accurate, 45, 48, 46, which is surprising to me. I thought it always sorted by time, but apparently not always by default. So I'll make sure it sorts by clicking this. Now I've got 4521, 4521, and if you look at it, I've got 0.226, 0.241, 0.247. It's trying many guesses per second. This is a script automatically trying to break in, and it's trying a whole series of passwords from a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's a password there, let me in, and so on. All right, so it does all that, and then if I go to the end of this series, yeah.
Could you hit time again when it's sort of in reverse?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be another way to get to the end. Absolutely. All right, and so now here, if I go to the end, I'm going to see, here it is trying 51.154.156, trying really fast, trying a lot of passwords, and then it ends at 4651.394 seconds, and then there's a gap of like 2 minutes before another login comes in, and this one is in a different format. The password's over here instead of there. So what happened here is the attacker ran an automated script that tried a lot of passwords. It found the right password and popped up a message, password found. Then they logged in from a browser, really coming in normally. And another way to tell that is if you look at these events, if I don't look at the table anymore, but I just look at these events, then you'll see, if you look at the HTTP user agents, here, 412 of them were Python, and one of them was a real browser. So it was a Python script identifying itself as a Python script, trying all the passwords, and then when he found the right one, he came in manually with the right password. And so there's a bunch of flags you can get from that stuff. You want to find the IP address performing, it's the IP address doing all that, performing the brute force attack. And down here, there's more that you'll have now. The first brute force password, you can find the correct password and the time interval between the script ending and the person logging in manually and the number of passwords. So there's a bunch of things you can find there from that. And the other thing that's interesting is to find the uploaded executable file name. After they found the password, they were able to upload files to the server, and they uploaded an exe file using a post method. So that's interesting. And this is what you'll see if you take the pen testing courses. All right, so we took post, not Acunetics, and now we're going to look for .exe, just being present. This is a typical grep search, just looking for that anywhere. And there's only going to be 2 events like that. And the exe, you can search for it. It's highlighted, but it's hard to find. I prefer to just search for it, .exe. And now, there it is. So the name of the thing is 3791.exe. And if you take the pen testing class, you'll see this. This is what you typically do. You go to SearchSploit in Metasploit, which is a website full of known attacks. You run something like a vulnerability scanner. It tells you it has this vulnerability. Then you look up in a list the attack that attacks that vulnerability, and it just has a whole series of scripts with numbers. So this is what you do. This is typical pen testing. You'll find a numerical executable, run that up, and then you can take over the box. So that's all I wanted to show you today. Should be able to do some of them. And this is all extra credit, and it's more fun than the official Spunk stuff. You can do both of them or either of them in this class. So let me stop the recording.